There are strategies we use to reduce unpleasant emotions. These strategies are called coping mechanisms, and these are activities we turn to when we are either stressed or uncomfortable. And sometimes they can be conscious and intentional activities, or sometimes they are unconscious and unintentional activities. These examples are eating, exercising, sleeping, smoking weed, drinking alcohol, etc. You know the things you do. And the interesting thing about these activities are when they become excess, they tend to become addictive to us and later down the line turn to destructive behavioral pattern. Let me give you a personal example. This last few weeks, yes, you all know I lost my mother. She died, and during that week, the first day, I tried to sleep off without doing anything, but it was hard. So I started sipping alcohol. First, I started with just one burst. I would just sip one, use that one. I'll sleep, especially at night when I want to sleep. Then later, I started drinking two bursts, two plastic of origin, three plastics of origin over 2 weeks. Like every night, not just one night, every night. It was a coping mechanism for me, drinking alcohol. But along the line, two plastic origin, two best whiskey, the small bottle was not being enough for me. So I changed it. I used to drink codeine before. And then I went to buy codeine, started taking one bottle of codeine just at night, just to sleep. One full bottle of codeine. I drank it for first 4 days. I drank the codeine. I stopped. I was like, this codeine is not even this thing. Then on Tuesday, this week Monday, I bought two DSP. That night I drank two DSP. Like only myself, I drank it. On Tuesday, I was practically useless. I slept almost the whole day. Then I looked at it. I was like, okay, this thing is helping me cope with this fact that my mom is dead. But looking at this, it was first something I prayed to God to help me get out of, because I knew it was very addictive. And now it was becoming excess, which I know down the line it will become a destructive behavioral pattern that I'll tend to now be hanging on to, drinking either alcohol or codeine just to get by, which I knew was not what I wanted for myself. Because from where I was coming to where I am now, I know how hard it was for me to get out of the drug state and stuff. So I knew this is not what I was conscious enough to know that this coping mechanism I'm using is becoming a destructive behavioral pattern. But most of us are not that conscious or aware of that this coping mechanism we tend to adopt has now become a destructive behavioral pattern in our lives. I know there are people, when they are stressed, they smoke weed, they drink alcohol. Quite alright, nobody's saying smoking weed is a bad thing or drinking alcohol is a bad thing, but excessive of it. Now there are people that they start smoking like, okay, I'm stressed, I just want to ease the tension, I just want to cool off. They go and smoke one blunt. They are okay. Now that one blunt does not do them again. In the day, they can smoke 5 blunts, and they will just feel the need to continue smoking. Now that is no more a coping mechanism. You've become addicted to that process of your coping mechanism, and now it's slowly destroying your behavior. It has now become a destructive behavioral pattern. You would think, okay, I eat when I'm stressed and nothing can happen to eating. But as spiritual people, I know the Bible said, thou shalt not live by bread alone. Now too much of eating is called gluttony. And I know I've forgotten the verse in the Bible, but it mentioned something about gluttony, that men that come to excessive drinking and gluttony will meet poverty. Now imagine you say you eat when you are stressed, you eat this one, and in a day you can be stressed like 10 times. That means you want to eat 10 times, and it's your money you're using to get those food you are eating 10 times. Which money do you want to save? So you see, there are ways that when we adapt a coping mechanism, if we are not conscious enough of that coping mechanism, it tends to become a destructive behavioral pattern for us. And we all don't know it is a very thin line, but we are not conscious enough as human beings. It took a conscious effort for me to realize that I was enjoying the coping mechanism of drinking, but I saw that It's this thing wasn't helping me because if I want to sleep now, the first thing that comes to my mind is I must buy one best. My money is going first of all because I have to go and buy 1.5. If I take from my bar, I have to pay 1.5, and if I go and buy outside, I have to pay still 1.2. So it was like the small money I was meant to keep maybe for data for this was going to the alcohol. In 2 weeks or 3 weeks, at least I would have spent more than 10,000 naira just for alcohol, which was affecting my finance. And you people will think, yes, I have the money, but along the line, just look at it. You say smoking weed, I like, but look at that buying of weed, the money you use. Most of the times, yes, it affects our body system. Drinking alcohol excessively along the line to affect my kidney or liver, and smoking weed excessively along the line to affect my lungs. I don't know if eating excessively without exercising can make you obese. Just become fat without sweating those things you are taking into your body out. But aside the thing it does to your body, your finances, it will affect it, to take a toll on your finances, and you will not be able to just see that you cannot just hold money is not staying in your hand, and you think they are doing, you're not doing yourself. So yes, I know as human beings we tend to adopt coping mechanisms, and there are also emotion focused coping mechanisms, like when we are uncomfortable about a situation, like maybe you are working with someone and this person does something that triggers your trauma, or maybe there's a behavior you have, and I've noticed this with people most time. There's a behavior we tend to have that might not be really pleasant, and someone starts telling you that this thing you are doing is not good, but because you are not ready to accept that fact, there's a coping mechanism. You just tend to brush off that person, or you start to avoid that person. Sometimes there are some coping mechanisms. Sometimes you start to brush off that person, or you start to avoid that person just because you want to be comfortable, because the person is making you comfortable with a bad habit you are doing, which we might know might be a bad habit, and we might not know that it is a bad habit, but because it is uncomfortable to us at that time, we start to brush off that person. It's a coping mechanism. Or maybe there is something we like to do, and now we are entering a relationship, like we have to do away with that thing. It is like automatic. Your body will just start responding. You will not know, but the person that is with you will observe that if so level comes up, there's this automatic response you have, like that is an unconscious coping mechanism. Now you don't know, but people have observed it around you, and sometimes they've told you, but you'll be like, it's a lie. But you will not know because it's unconscious. It's a behavioral pattern that helps you to stay in your comfort zone. And most times, all these coping mechanisms we adapt are just so we can push off the reality for the time being. And the more we push off the reality, the longer we punish ourselves to face the reality, which if we don't face and we get addicted to that coping mechanism, we at the end of the day not face that reality, and that reality now becomes something that haunts us in the future. So instead of adapting the coping mechanism that just to help you pass the time for the meanwhile, face the reality. That is one thing I've noticed about coping mechanisms. It's just because we don't want to face the reality, we do these things. We tend to get something that will make us feel comfortable because we are stressed or something, or we are uncomfortable. So we tend to look for something that will keep us in our comfort zone. And we know that saying that life starts outside our comfort zone. All the things we have in our comfort zone, we already have it. But the things you aspire for are outside your comfort zone. So if you're not ready and willing to go outside that comfort zone and get to the uncomfortable zone, you will never really experience the life you want. So coping mechanisms can be nice for the time being, but in the long run, they affect you and they delay your growth in life. That is just it. So be conscious that yes, okay, you are trying to cope with this thing. It's hard in the reality, but which time will you not face the reality? Let's ask ourselves that question. Which time will you not face the reality? So you see, these coping mechanisms are not really helping us. They are just pushing our reality further. What we are meant to face, they're just pushing it, they are delaying it for us. And at the end of the day, if we don't face it, it will become a problem for us in front, which now becomes maybe trauma or something. that we developed that we don't know how we developed, but because of the coping mechanism we try to adapt back in the day, that is now making us face that problem in front. Which, if we have faced the reality when the issue came up, we will not have that problem in front. So it's just something that maybe we know and maybe we don't know. But I'm bringing it to your cognizance now, that this is something that is not really good. So look at yourself. What coping mechanism are you using now, and what are you trying to use it? What are you using it to delay? Is it something that is this something that you can face now? Face it, so it does not become a problem for you in front. Do have a great day. Stay jiggy, stay blessed.